Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz, and of course, we gotta do some sharing. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's been a minute. We're gonna have Jacob on tonight. Jacob's gonna talk us through a lot of the similarities between the different gods from the Sumerian, the Egyptians, when it is concerning Orion's belt. So we're gonna get him on here in a few minutes after we get a little sharing going. Okay. How's everybody doing? Let me know where you're coming in from. Always interesting thing to me. Hey, Serena Joy. Am I saying that wrong? Yeah, I like to say people's names right. It's gonna be an interesting night. Good evening, everybody. How you doing? Danville. Everybody's coming in. Appreciate it. Y'all know I'm just doing some Facebook sharing. Detroit. Man, where my southern people at? We get some southerners in here. It's been a couple of weeks. There we go, North Carolina. I was just in North Carolina. I was in Asheville, North Carolina. Well, technically Mars Hill, North Carolina. It's an interesting little mountain place. How you doing, Tony and Melissa on Facebook? How are you guys doing? Peace, Jill. How you doing, Jill? Peace and wholeness. Yeah. Why, people? Why? Good to see you. Raleigh. I used to go to Raleigh when I was in the Marine Corps station at Camp Lejeune. New York. It's your first time catching a live? So the lives go every Tuesday. Supposedly, I did miss the last 2 Tuesdays. We are going to try to prevent. We don't want that to happen again. We don't want to miss weeks. While I'm getting myself situated, let me go ahead and tell you guys about next week. Ready for some knowledge and understanding. So first, let me tell you a little bit about next week. Before we really get into this week. And I'm still dealing with a little sinus. Hey, Melissa, you doing good? Good, great. So next week, I've been doing a lot of studying about Haiti over the last few months. And of course, you can't study Haiti without studying 1804. But from my studying of Haiti in 1804, there are so many lessons that we need to take and make a part of who we are today. So next week, go ahead and tell you now, we're going to talk about what 1804 really means and how 1804 from Haiti is still affecting the world. Like, things that was done then are still affecting the world, especially black people in the world. So definitely join me next week as I break down the Haitian Revolution, the first formation after colonialism of a black free nation. Some of the ideas that was they were looking for, some of the jacked up things that happened, some of the great things that happened. When we talk about Haiti and the revolution, things that stem from that to which we are still having to deal with today. And I had like an amazing conversation with this guy and his wife earlier today. And oh my gosh, when I say it was so crazy, I'm going to spoil it for you a little bit. So he's black, she's white. She more Afrocentric than him. He believes in more stereotypes concerning Africa and Haiti and these other places than she does. And I really had a long conversation with him. So it just showed me and revealed to me so much more how that mentality, the mentality that stems from some of the events from 1804, from the Haitian Revolution, some of the things that Napoleon did and Thomas Jefferson did right after the revolution, right after they became a free nation. So that's going to be next week. because of course I'm still pushing for us to build a economic African American Caribbean, situation, so that we can like not just only leave this country but become more empowered. So you were just talking about that today. Yeah, and the lies that was told to them. That's what Melissa said on Facebook. I'm serious. So that's going to be next week though. Next week. I don't want to give it away too much, but watch some of the videos I'm gonna do this week, because this week these videos are going to lead into the mentality of next week's podcast. So definitely join me next week. Now tonight, as soon as he signs on, we're gonna have this young man on here, Jacob. Jacob has been. I became acquainted with Jacob probably about a good year ago, and yeah, I know it's been over a year. It's been over a year actually, and he is a very astute young man. A lot of knowledge, a lot of connections when we talk about the older gods, the older deities that were worshipped in the Sumerian, the Egyptians, the Anunnaki, the Greeks, all these different gods, and how they are interconnected, how the stories are interwoven, right? So we're gonna talk about that as soon as he gets on here. Now, me and him been talking all day, and I don't know why he ain't on here yet. Well, we ain't been talking all day, but we just finished talking, and I don't know why he's not. I don't see him popping up so that I can bring him in on Facebook. So Jacob, you need to get over on Facebook if you're not already over here. But so while I'm waiting on Jacob, he's throwing off my game now. I did miss the last 2 weeks, and I apologize for that. I just want to say that there was a lot of life going on, but I want to know how you guys are. And actually, what are some of the subject matters that you guys would like to have discussed? Like what are we looking at? Because I like to talk about money and relationships and hermetics and spirituality and history. So I get some questions and I answer them on video. Some questions I want to be able to do a whole show based on it. So definitely I need you guys' input, because this ain't just about me, it's about you guys and me providing as much of what I can for you. All right. So definitely, start letting me know that. And is anybody in Atlanta? Anybody in Atlanta lives here in Atlanta or close to Atlanta? Because Kevin is coming down here. Kevin Wesley is coming down here doing a meet and greet. Go to his page. You can find the link. But we're going to be doing some events here in Atlanta this weekend. So it'd be great to meet some of you guys face to face. That'd be awesome to meet people face to face. I like meeting people face to face. That makes it surreal, because then we really got to meet each other. I'm trying to get Jacob some time so we can do this thing. Next door in Alabama. Well, that means you can make it to Atlanta this weekend. Shannon, put you out there. Grant, welcome, Grant. Welcome. Oh, I want to try something. I never did this before, but we're going to do this today. But I definitely want you guys to, if you can make it, that'd be cool. If you can make it, that'd be cool. That'd be cool if you can make it. I got to find out what the schedule of events are so that I can be a part, tell people, let people know what part I'm going to, where, what I'll be able to do. Trying to get to the next meeting with Kevin that Kevin can't do this weekend though. Oh, okay. You can do this weekend. You can make it, but it's all right. It's all right. So, I'm being held up. I want to go right into the subject matter, but he's not here. So let me just go ahead and talk about the pyramids a little bit, because I was having this discussion with a gentleman earlier today as well concerning the pyramids in the Giza strips. I keep calling the Giza strip on the Giza plateau in Old Virginia doing some things. All right, so you're gonna be there, Shannon. Great. Old Virginia. So if anybody knows about Tesla, there are a lot of information about Tesla going on right now. But one of the things that people don't seem to talk about is the fact that when Tesla built his tower, he built the interior of the tower, he built the placement of the tower in the exact same, that gave free energy, in the exact same style and place and situation of how the pyramids were at the Giza Plateau, 12,000 years ago, where the Nile River was right up against it, where the aquifers was streaming below it. And the interior of Tesla's tower mimicked the interior of the pyramids, of the Great Pyramid. And when Tesla did this, it created free energy. Now the problem is that when he created this free energy, J.P. Morgan didn't like it because he can't make money off of it. J.P. Morgan, he was part of the Rothschild crew. He couldn't make money off of it, so they took everything away from Tesla, gave it to Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, was a businessman, he wasn't so much a inventor, he was a businessman, and he would steal people's ideas and steal people's patents. And they did the repeating system so that you can charge people for electricity. But the point is, they don't talk about how Tesla built the interior of the pyramids and created a situation that provided free energy. But it was based on the Great Pyramid. So, when you look at that, when you think about that, it is hard for us to say, because history has said we have gotten more intelligent. We have invented more things. That the people back in those days could not have known how to harness lightning, how to create electricity. That civilizations couldn't have been smarter than what we are and been more inventive. Otherwise, we'd be, more, Star Trek living right now. They don't want to recognize the law of rhythm. Just as empires grow and they crash, they grow and they crash, technology has grown and crashed, grown and crashed. So the fact that Tesla, mimicking the Great Pyramid, created free electricity. The fact that the Great Pyramid is known to have had a golden dome cap, and that it had the white, I think it was alabaster, should let us know that, and it had the aquifer, and it had the Nile River next to it. It is not the tomb of Khufu. First of all, we know it was older than the time frame Khufu could have built it. But we know it's not the tomb of Khufu. That later on, they started using pyramids for tombs, but that was not the tomb of Khufu. Even when they went to the Great Pyramid, they didn't find a sarcophagus, right? So the thing about it is, if it was free electricity, if it created electricity, then that would mean that the Egyptians had electricity. Further evidence of this is the fact that when you go inside of the Great Pyramids, there is no ancient soot, right? So I don't know. If you ever burn an oil lamp, or if you burn wood, burn anything, the smoke creates soot. But oil lamps, especially because you need something long burning. If you've never been in the pyramid, it's not like you can pop in and pop right back out. It's a good there's some distance in that thing. Oil lamps leave residue. There is no ancient residue, ash residue, oil lamps residue, burn nothing residue. So, and without light, these tunnels become so dark you can't see nothing. You have to have light. The other part about it is that the deeper you go into the pyramid, the less oxygen you have in order to burn these candles. So even if somebody said they had some kind of candle, you can't burn them. And then the final thing about it is that they got a meta nature, a hieroglyph, if you will, of dudes carrying light bulbs, what look like light bulbs. Now they got a little snake in there because they're showing a coil, and that's how they related it, as a snake, as a serpent, in a bulb that's attached to like a battery, or attached to that with a cord that's attached. to this, and then they got this lightning rod thing that looks like how we have modern day lightning rods. They got batteries. They look like how we have modern day antennas and batteries. They have these hieroglyphs, these miniatures of these things, showing that they had power. They had electricity. Maybe they didn't use it exactly the same way we use electricity today. Who's to say? Maybe because they built the pyramids based on earth and clay, they weren't thinking about creating cars and houses with light bulbs in them and creating the type of false society that we had today, since they were building everything. Everything was built more on nature. So the pyramids couldn't represent a tomb. And since Tesla showed that they represented free energy, I'm going to take you another step further. Right? Have you guys ever heard of ley lines? If you ever heard of a ley line, like do a heart, do a thumbs up, whatever, say something. Have you ever heard of ley lines? I'm going to sip some water because I can't talk. This is why Jacob would have been good on here, because I can't really talk that much. Okay, Francis ever heard of ley lines? So, and correct me if I'm wrong. Ley lines are like these bands that go around the planet. Natural energy that goes around here. It's the energy of the earth, right? And on these ley lines, and what's interesting, if you look at maps of ley lines and they're curved around the globe, you'll see that many of the major cities fall on the larger ley lines. Cities like New York, D.C., Washington, D.C., London, Paris, Cairo, all these major cities, they lie on major ley lines and major ley line connections, like where multiple ley lines connect and pass each other. The Giza Plateau is built on top of one of the more powerful, bigger connected ley line point, like the major hub. Like if you lived in Atlanta, like 5 Point Station, all five trains come to one point. The Giza Plateau is built right on top of that, right there. If you understood the Anunnaki story, if you understand how the Egyptians, the people were back then, they built things based on nature and earth and clay. So they would not when they built their free energy towers, the pyramids, they would not have said, "Oh, let's go and create fossil fuel cars," or anything like that. They wouldn't have said, "Let's go create a fluorescent light bulb." They would have built things based on natural things, on nature, right? Now, they had plenty, Joe Starr says that the Egyptian pyramids on the longest latitude and longitude lines on the planet. It's just coincidence. Right. And it's not a coincidence. All these things are connected. We just have to step back and see the picture. So the Egyptians had pyramids. Then we have to get rid of this false notion that they were tombs. And say that if they had, the Egyptians had pyramids. If they had electricity, we have to get past this notion that they were less advanced than we were. That societies 12,000 years ago was less advanced. Now, something kind of happened around 12,000 years. Nobody really knows. Some say it was like an ice age. Some say it was a major catastrophe. The desertification of the Sahara Desert that happened about 26,000 years ago. Well, that began about 26,000 years ago. And then took about, I think, around like 8,000 years for it to fully happen. Caused people to leave and migrate and do all kinds of things. But the information, the knowledge was lost. Civilizations go up, civilizations go down. Knowledge goes up, knowledge goes down. Look at our own history books. Knowledge was going up. Then the Dark Ages, knowledge went down. Then the Enlightenment period comes back. Knowledge is going back up. If we look at the ages, the age of Pisces, now knowledge going down. Age of Aquarius, knowledge goes up. So they're all connected. And we have to recognize these things. But when we do, we have to look back and say, okay, if we're getting, what can we learn from the ancients? What can we learn from the people 6,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago? How can we better ourselves by their knowledge, right? And we do that by taking a different eye on it. So if the Egyptians had pyramids, what else did they have? I wish I had I was able to like throw pictures up here, but I can't. But there are hieroglyphs that used to be covered up. The first time I went to Egypt, they had it covered up with a rug, right? We are becoming awake and evolving greater understanding. That's right. The first time I went to Egypt, they had it covered up with a rug, right? And then the second time I went, they had it uncovered. But everybody has seen the hieroglyphs, the meta-natures, of the Egyptian helicopter, the airplane. You've seen those things, right? I'm sure you guys have seen those. And people don't want to seem to admit that they drew what we have today as a helicopter. And it's not like it was falsely put there. If it was, then why would they try to hide it for so many decades? They tried to hide this with a rug, right? But they show flying machines. When you look at the Hindu religion, and they show the Hindu gods fighting each other in flying chariots. The Aztecs and the Mayans show little dudes on these little rocket ships having space helmets and all those sorts of things. We have to recognize that ancient people knew stuff that we didn't know. That we are not at the apex of human knowledge right now. That there was a way of knowledge, and that knowledge was done differently. It was done more in concert with nature, with the natural universe, with how energy works in the universe. And as we study, I am so sorry that I'm coughing so much. It's like the more I talk, the more I cough. Francis, I've seen the pictures. You have seen these in person. Yes. Yes, I've seen these in Egypt twice. First time they had it, like I said, first time I was in Egypt, they covered it up with a rug. And then after that, I saw the real one. Let's say, yes, you're right, exactly. And we have to get out and go see these things for ourselves. It is one thing for me to tell you guys, yeah, I've been there. And it was, and I will admit, the first time I went to these places, I was in the Marine Corps, so I was able to go on your dime, your tax-paying dime. Thank you very much. Although some of y'all probably weren't paying taxes back then. All right. And Jill says she wants to go. And that's the thing, we just have to put it together. You just have to be, excuse me. We have to be willing to like save our money. Put that 10%, 10% of what you earn, save it, put it away, put it away, put it away. So you can go. All right? Oh, appreciate that, Francis. But we have to take the opportunity to go see these things. We got to stop saying, oh, I want to go to, there's nothing wrong with going to Jamaica. I want to go to Jamaica. Oh, I want to go to Paris. Oh, I want to go to all these, I want to go to Dubai. Let's go to Egypt. Go see this for yourself. You know, it's a totally different thing. Somebody's telling you about the pyramid and you actually go touch it. Put your hands on it. It becomes real. It becomes real. But then you start seeing things that you don't necessarily, that you wouldn't have thought about before. You know, like when you see the distance between the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, and the Nile River, but then you learn that the Nile River moved. It used to be right up against it. Then you understand why, which also makes it idiotic that they said it was a tomb, because you see the ancient bridge and it looks like something where a boat would pull up. So why would they have this, a dock, not a bridge, why would they have a dock attached to the pyramid on the side where the Nile River is 8 miles away now? Because it used to be right up against it. They would pull up and dock there. And they would dock at the power plant. Because that's what the pyramids were. They were power plants. The original pyramids were power plants. Right? Jill says she's been to Ghana. Elmina Castle, And that was a trip to remember. The pyramids are my next experience. Good. Go to them pyramids, young lady. Pyramids are an awesome thing. Like I plan on going back to as well. It's it's funny on Facebook. I see some of my Marines on there. Big Head Sanchez. But anyway, had to get that one out. We have to understand that half the information that we've been told throughout history is incorrect. That it is not made to serve the people. It is made to serve those who are in power. It is also done in a way that to promote one group over the other group, right? So you can't what power doesn't want you to be able to do, and I'm gonna try not to get into next week's conversation. Power doesn't want you to take away from it. If you knew that all these things that were posted, that was talked about when concerning the pyramids, were not necessarily what you've been taught in history, you would start to question everything they talk about, everything they have taught you before. All right? So we have to start questioning these things. Now, we was going to talk about Orion's belt tonight, so I was trying to wait and gave you a little bit more about the pyramids. So let's talk about Orion's belt. Orion's belt, if you guys you see it dang near every night. You've heard the stories about it if you've grown up in Western culture. Those stories are the stories of the three kings. The three kings who followed a star in the east to the birth of the sun. Usually this is something we talk about. How you doing, Iron? This is something we talk about around the 25th. This is the winter solstice. Orion's belt used to be called Asar's belt. In Greek, Asar is Osiris. So the three pyramids of Giza are in perfect alignment with Asar's belt, Osiris's belt, Orion's belt. The Greeks, when they conquered Egypt, they adopted the same story and called it Orion the Hunter instead of Osiris. The star Sirius is the star in the east. But that was the womb of Isis, the womb of Aset. Aset, the wife of Asar. Isis, the wife of Osiris. Osiris's belt, otherwise speaking of his sexual organs, points directly at the womb, the star in the east, the womb of Isis, on December 25th to show where the birth of the sun, where the sun will rise on that day. But we start, we start moving around, we start thinking and just learning the basic story that they told us. That's Orion the Hunter, that's his belt. And that's just a Greek story about Orion. We don't learn about where the Greeks got the story from. We don't learn about how the story was changed from the Asar and Aset story. So what is the Asar and Aset story? Now that's the one I was just telling you. Asar, and I'm gonna use the Greek name so not to confuse too many people. Isis and Osiris. Osiris and Isis are sisters. They also have another brother named Set. I mean, they're brothers and sisters. They have another brother named Set. Well, Isis was given to Osiris as a wife, and they were going to rule. But Set was pissed because he wanted Isis, so he kills. He maps out a plan. He kills his brother. He chops up his pieces, spread them all over Egypt, throws his tallywhacker into the Nile River, so that it is supposedly consumed by either crocodile or hippopotamus, right? Because Set wanted power. Isis, pissed off about this, she goes and she assembles all of Osiris's body parts, except she can't find his penis. Right? Yeah, the Bible is astrology. She can't find his penis, so she fashioned a golden phallic symbol. We call this in America the Washington Monument. Let me tell you something about that in a few minutes. The Washington Monument. When she fashions this, then you got different versions of the story at this point. But the most common story is that she hovers above. She hovers above the golden phallus. And it's the obelisk. She hovers above the golden obelisk. And she becomes impregnated. And through that impregnation, she gave birth to her son, Horus. Who's now since... Oh, at first she resurrects Osiris. And then she gives birth to the son, Horus. Right? Obelisk don't lick it. So... And then Horus, and they avenge their father, they avenge and kill Seth. And Osiris becomes the Lord of the underworld, Lord of heaven. You gotta understand, in their idea, the underworld wasn't hell. It wasn't until the Greeks come in with Hades that it starts to get a little bit of the hell idea. You know, of kind of like the underworld is not a great place to go. And it was really not until you get into Christianity that you get hell. And it is not until Dante's Inferno that you get the modern day idea of hell. So it's a little bit different. It's a different story. Yep, and that's what we have to be able to track, all these similarities. So she fashioned this golden phallus. Now I want you guys to think about something. If she fashioned a golden phallus, and that is an obelisk. And you go to the city of Washington, D.C. The obelisk, the Washington Monument, is the largest building in D.C. It's the tallest building, not the largest. It's the tallest building in D.C. And unless they change the law, which I'm quite sure they have not, no other building in D.C. can be taller than the Washington Monument. Right? No other, hold on, somebody say. Zoroastrians had the idea of heaven and hell first. The Jews adopted that idea. Yes, except the Jews don't have a hell. You just kind of go into oblivion. Kind of like how the Tao, you go into oblivion. But all these things keep getting migrated over and over again. That's the beauty. That's why I like this conversation. The ISIS Papers. I read that book like 20, 30 years ago. It's a great book. But unless I'm wrong, no other building in D.C. can be built higher than the Washington Monument. Now, for all intents and purposes, that's a dumb idea. In today's world, that's stupid. Because in today's world, and not to do a conversation based on the 9/11 attacks or anything like that. But if you think about it, with the tallest building being the Washington Monument, the places in D.C., the White House, the Congress building, all those places, they're sitting ducks. They're easily spotted. Now, I know that there are different things there to protect those buildings, surface-to-air missiles, F-14s on the ready, or I don't know what kind of jets they got on the ready now, but F-16s on the ready, whatever jets they got on the ready. I understand they got all this stuff now, but it's really a sitting duck for any kind of aerial attack because there are no buildings to navigate around. There are no buildings high enough to have to navigate around to get to the White House, to get to Congress, to get to the Pentagon, to get to the Supreme Court. It's just like a sitting duck. But they must make sure that this symbol of a big old penis is the tallest building in D.C., which is on a major ley line. I have traveled to many cities all over the planet. And you know one thing that I see very common? Obelisk. There's an obelisk damn near in every graveyard that I've ever seen. Next time you guys are driving past a graveyard, you're going to look over there and you're going to see some obelisks. You pay attention to that. You go to most of these cities, you go to London, they have an obelisk. You go to the Vatican, right in the middle of St. Peter's Basilica, there's St. Peter's Square, there's an obelisk. Yeah, they have an underground network as well in DC. But you'll see obelisks in all these cities. If Egypt was so wrong, so evil, such a bad, horrible place, why do they have obelisks in all these cities? Why do they have this big phallic symbol in all these cities, right? If the Vatican is so Christian, why is there a big obelisk sitting there? It's a question. It's a good question. What do you think about that? Why is it sitting there? Got to be there for a reason. But it goes back, and so you have to say, okay, what is it symbolizing? If it provided the ego, exactly. It provided the ability for the son to be born. Right? The son was born. Asar could not have Osiris. Asar could not have Horus, Heru, without floating over the golden penis. The information that is needed in order to have a baby. Now, I want you to understand something. Hermetically, the male penis represents information, direction, right? The womb of the woman, the star in the east, Isis's womb, represents the work, the nurturing, the place for growth, the place of development. So masculine energy is representing the information, the details, the instructions, while feminine energy represents the receiving portal that takes that information and builds and constructs and nurtures. So they're supposed to work together. The comedic version of the story is about the two of them coming together equally to produce this amazing birth. This, and I know people don't like to say immaculate conception, but to produce this birth, this miracle birth of Heru, of Horus. But of course, in our world, our misogynistic ideas, as Iron put out there, and ego says that, nope, I gotta lay my hammer down. I'm a man. It's my penis. It's all about me. Submit. No other building can be taller than me. Submit to my will. The will of the big white penis in DC. Submit to it. You go to the Vatican, before you come into what is the church, submit to the penis that you must go past before you come into the church. Because the penis is right here. You gotta pass that penis to get into the Sistine Chapels and all of that stuff at St. Peter's. You go to the graveyards, the penis lives on. Asar, Isis, he's the god, Egyptian god of the underworld. So in the graveyard, penises representing the Egyptian god of Asar. Osiris. The Book of the Dead. So so Iron said, do I think the Bible has been corrupted by misogynists? Oh, hell yeah. But not just the Bible. Not just the Bible. So, in my journey of 1,000 steps, each step of studying each religion, for the last 8,000 years, the majority of them are misogynistic as hell. Christianity, obviously. We see the most people who grew up in the Western world, you know a lot about Christianity more so than anything else. The graveyard would never be the same. No, it's not. But there's a lot of symbolism in graveyards, though. My middle child loves going to graveyards for that reason, to study the symbols that are there. But, sorry. I want to wish my son, my youngest son, my youngest child, my baby boy, my man child, happy birthday, Lincoln. 18, buddy. 18. All my kids are over 18 now. Free at last. Free at last. No, okay. All right. So, had a moment there. Had a moment. So, forever embedded in the history of video, happy birthday to my son, Lincoln, my man child. So, it's time to move. Anyway, lost my daggone train of thought. So, misogynistic stuff. Misogynistic. Now, um, so we know Christianity has it because of the way it treats women, from the Hebrew Bible to the Christian Bible to the Islamic Quran, right? Each one of them, women are subservient to men. Never equal. Even though in the very beginning it says, help me, help me, help me get beneath me. Even in the Kabbalic story of Lilith, Lilith had to be turned into a demon because she wanted to be considered equal to Adam, right? In the JTEX version of Genesis, man and women were created on the same day. All of a sudden you get to the E-text, the Elohist text, and it's Adam first and then the woman. But even when we look at, so you know, we can easily spew that out. We can look at Sharia law and how they treat women, stone women. You know, she committed adultery, stone her, kill her. What about the dude? Cut off her clit when she's a little girl. Why don't you cut off a boy's, the whole tip of his penis, right? All them nerve endings right up there, right on that underside of his penis, right below the head. Cut that off then. Let me see you get as many erections or ejaculations with that little, just that little piece. Cut it off. Do that to the men too. Nah, but you don't, because it's misogynistic. You go to, when I was in when I was in Saudi Arabia, women can't drive. Only men could drive a car. What kind of bullshit is that? Sorry, Iron says church didn't like it. First wife of Adam Lilith, so they replaced her with, they replaced her with the subservient Eve. Not only that, yes, they stole the story of Horus and gave it to Jesus. Yes, they did. They stole the story of Horus and they made Jesus. Dionysius, Atticus, and a whole bunch of others. But not only it was subservient, not only did they do that with Adam and Eve, but the so-called Hebrews, who were actually Canaanites back in the day in 500 BCE, those Canaanites, even in the 1000 BCE, they were Canaanites. Lilith became the demon, and she is blamed for SIDS. What they had back in the day called SIDS, she's blamed for SIDS. So your child died in childbirth, or if it died in the crib, then Lilith came and killed your baby, basically. But El, which is a Babylonian god, the son who became the top god, El had a wife named Asherah. But when the Canaanites who left Canaan and started worshiping El as the supreme deity, got rid of his wife completely, got rid of Asherah. You know, at first it was El and Asherah created, then it just became El created. But it's Elohim having the male and the female, right? But yeah, so, but we can find that easily. But that's not the only place. I'm not going to just throw the Abrahamic religions under the bus on that. When we look at the Hindu religion, Kali is a very powerful, warm, mothering goddess. But then she loses her mind when she comes to earth to kill the demon, right, who was causing all kind of havoc on the earth. Her husband, Brahma, had to come and lay himself beneath her feet while she held the head of the demon to convince her to stop being so emotional so that the earth can be at peace, you know. So it's not like she could have just came and did the deal and been good, right? When we, and it's stories like that in the Hindu that keeps women in a lower caste system than the men, that they don't have as much prominence. All the female goddess deities have always had to suffer under a male. In the Sumerian story, Elnana, who was supposed to marry Dumuzi, and Dumuzi died in a waterfall. It's kind of stupid, but he died. Elnana was supposed to, when the earth was being divvied up by the Anunnaki, Elnana was like, what I'm supposed to get my piece. If I was going to be married to Dumuzi would have got his, so I would have got mine. She couldn't get a piece unless she was married to a dude god, right? And then the way they solved it is that King An came down and said, well, the best way to solve this is me and you going to have sex and you're going to have a baby, and in that way you get the Indus Valley. Still putting women at a lower level. In the most prominent African ancestry tradition, culture, is Ifa. In Ifa, beautiful culture. In voodoo, whichever term you want to use, beautiful. Santeria, beautiful. All coming from the Yoruba of Ifa. They still put women in a lower level. You know, it's changing, but in the stories, you know, I think it's Oshun. They didn't want to didn't want to let the woman have dealings with the earth, and it wasn't until, you know, Obatala was like, yes, you will. That's the problem. You forgot the woman, and so then they had to go to her. They had to, but even when they went to her, I can't tell you the whole story, but because I might mess it up. But the basics of it was that Oshun was like, if I have a daughter, I'm going to let the earth burn down. All this can burn. But if I have a son, then I'll work with y'all. The other Orishas did some little funky stuff when they found out that the child was going to be a girl, and changed the child to a boy named Eshu, so that they can keep doing what they're doing. They still showing male manipulation over the woman. Right? Now, is it as bad as Christianity and all that kind of stuff? Hell to the no. Is the African ancestors? No. The Orishas? No. Nowhere near as bad as the Abrahamic. But it's still there. For the last 8,000 years, man has made it a point to put the woman down, to keep the woman subservient. Women, don't speak in the church. If you have any questions, ask your man when you get home. Hell, his ass probably don't even know the answer, right? Still happening today with conservative. Exactly. Only male births were celebrated in the Bible, right? I mean, think about how poorly a woman is treated in the Bible when it says that if a father's daughter is raped, then the rapist can pay the father 50 pieces of silver. And then the daughter, the rapist, the rape victim, the daughter, has to now marry her rapist and produce children for him. Now, the reason behind that is because if the daughter has been raped, no other man is going to want her because she now doesn't have value. She's lost her value because a dude raped her. That's the message that's being sent on stories like that. This is why I didn't let my kids read the Bible when they was little. I was like, these stories are horrible. These are horrible stories, right? My kids are just now starting to read it, but they're reading it and they're like, this is some bull. This is some straight up BS, right? The Arabs used to bury their babies alive in the Quran. The Quran is filled with similar situations where the women are just cast aside, treated like crap. So yeah, all these religions are misogynistic. Every last one of them. This is one reason why I like the Hermetics. I like the teachings of Tahuti. You know, the Emerald Tablets. Because it just straight up says that you can't create nothing. That everything on the planet will be out of balance without balance between the male and female. Not one over the other. Balance between the male and female. Right? That's it. No other way. Don't let your children read the Bible. It's XXX rated. I let them read it now because they need to be able to, so they can understand this foolishness. Jill says that she was dating a guy in Nigeria, and all he kept talking about that I would have to be submissive. You know, a strong black woman from a long line of domestic abuse had to let that brother go. As well you should. As well you should. You know, all these messages of the women are the weaker sex. These things are just designed to keep a woman down, right? And stories like the Amazonians are made from myth and legend. But the Hermetics should teach you that, no, you keep balance between male and female, that they work together. And that's how your relationship should be. I showed that to a family member, and he thought I was lying until he read it for himself. If Christians read the Bible for themselves, they would stop. You know, it is incredibly difficult to get somebody of any religion to actually read their stuff. They don't read it. I challenge, I know that there are some people of different religions who are listening to this video right now because I see some of y'all names. I challenge you to take the next year and actually read the book, the whole book. And don't read it with your rose-colored lenses on. When it tells you, when it talks about going into the village and killing all the men, kill all the old men, kill all the baby boys, kill all the women who have had sex with a man, but the young girls who have not had a sex with a man, keep them for yourself. Now, if you go into a village, you're going to have some girls who are 3 years old, 5 years old. You're going to have some 12-year-old little girls. Keep them and make them your wives. When you read it and you see that, and if you still say, oh, this is the book written by man, but inspired by God, y'all got some problems. Songs of Solomon is talking about beat and stuff. It sounds like the homosexuality of the Greeks. Right, and now Songs of Solomon, but now I do take away some of the good stuff from it, because actually Songs of Solomon got some sexy stuff in there. You know, Songs of Solomon talking about some, you know, my man out there working hard, his body glistening in the sunlight, and we gonna go and do some things. We gonna go get it on, you know. He got some stuff like that in there. And you're right. People will listen to whatever their pastor has told, whatever their pastor is telling them without actually studying it for themselves. You got to recognize that your religious leader is probably teaching you 1/50th of the information that's in the book. And you have to question, why are they only teaching you that, like, so little of that book? If it's supposed to, if the whole book is your lifeblood, why just a little bit? Should be teaching you all of it. Not a little bit, but a lot of it. A lot of it should be taught. Because they know if they teach you the actual book, you'd probably leave. You'd have a lot of questions. You know, that's what started with me when I was 9 years old. I started reading the actual book, and I had questions. I was like, wait, I'm reading this and this ain't making sense. We have to remember that some of us are first-generation educators in our family who know how to research. And I'm going to do a video later this week about how people are just complacent to let life be however life is. They just go with the flow of it. You know, most people are just going to go with the flow. And they're not going to change until it's safe to change. Right? Think about it like this. Hold on for a second. And see, y'all messing up one of my videos I'm going to do later on this week. No, I'm going to still do it. But the civil rights movement in America, right? Civil rights movement. It was only a few people who got started with it, who gained national notoriety, who were actually doing things, right? Because here's the thing. Most of the black people who were enduring Jim Crow persecution would have just kept living that way. That's just the way things are. That's just how it is. I was born into it. I'm probably going to die into it. It ain't going to change. Ain't nothing going to change. They going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. Isn't that what we say today? Police shooting unarmed black men. Ain't nothing going to change. They going to keep on doing it. People will easily get complacent. This is this is just how it is. Yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad when they lynched some black men on a tree. That's wrong. I'm mad. But then the next day, when you getting ready to get on that bus, you take your happy ass to the back of that bus. I'm mad. They raped my daughter. You still get on the back of that bus. They burned down my house. They put a cross in my yard and burned it down. You still getting on the back of that bus that next day. You still gonna know that store right there, you don't go. You go sit in the back. You go drink from that fountain. Most black people were complacent to just sit there and keep doing it. They'll complain, but they won't change it. If you were born into a house that taught you Christianity, that taught you Islam, that taught you whatever, it's easier just to keep spouting out the same rhetoric that they was doing before. It's easy to actually go study, to think. That's not what people want to do. People don't want to think. They don't want to study. They don't want to do the work. That's why I realized it's only going to take a few of us to change how things go. And once people felt that it was safe, once the bill had been passed, once they seen people start marching with police protection instead of marching and getting the hell beat out of them, and they saw it was safe, then they joined in. Same thing with every revolution, the American Revolution and every other revolution, the French Revolution and every other revolution. People wait till it's safe. The people in Nigeria, yeah, they pissed because those elections about 3 weeks ago they was crap. And only a few people are stepping up. The majority, the masses of people are just complaining. And they ain't gonna do nothing. That's why it's up to us few to get it done. It's up to us few to make changes. That's why, you know, we're gonna do our social economic change. Right, and there's still good people left who want change, and it's just those few have to step up until it becomes easy, safe for everybody. It's called. I need a. See, when I do this video, I gotta have a whiteboard so I can show you the law of central diffusion and how that works and how leadership brings those kind of things in. Yep, they don't live by it; they just want that money. But you know, that's just how these things go. But what we have to do is we have to step back and recognize all these things that we've been mistaught, that we've been taught incorrectly, and we can't just accept it. We have to say, okay, is this correct? What's the swerve? And then what's the point and the purpose of the swerve? I'm telling you, that's why y'all got to join me next week when I talk about Haiti and 1804. Because as I was studying Haiti over the last couple of months, and of course, when I study something, I got to study the history of it. And I started studying the history of it, and I was like, man, that stuff that they did back then is still affecting us today. It's still affecting us today. The fact that Napoleon said that he abhorred the idea of a black nation, and he knew that France and that Spain and England and America would agree with him. And I think at the time he was about to go to war with England and Spain. Come on, man. But they would ally against black people having their own nation. And that was what, 200 years ago? 200 years ago. Over 200 years ago. And it's still affecting us and the world today and our perspective on things. We have to unlearn this bullshit that we've been forced and we've been taught. Right? I'm looking at like my Facebook feed. And before I went onto this line of BS we've been taught and religion, Christianity, there was a bunch more people on here. But because I'm telling them that go read your book, I challenge you to go read your book, they've been dropping like flies. Dropping like flies. Because it's easier to stand still, to stay stuck in whatever pathetic ass life that you have. And I'm about to tell you, I'm about to get mean with this stuff too. Right. I don't even, you know what? Now see, you're stealing some of the stuff for next week there. The baby. She said that they say that Haiti has to pay France for slavery. That's why they're pouring in debt. Think about that. When the French Revolution happened and they killed the monarchy, the revolutionary government didn't have to pay the monarchy a dime. Didn't have to pay the monarchy family, the aristocrats, nothing. When Napoleon came in and overthrew the French revolutionary government, Napoleon didn't have to pay the revolutionary government people a dime. But all of a sudden, let me give you one more. When America overthrew Great Britain, we had to pay France for helping, but we didn't have to pay Great Britain nothing. But the Haiti, the black people, gotta pay France for killing all those people and gaining their freedom and taking Santo Domingo, Haiti away from them? Are you serious? And what's more, I don't know if they're still paying that debt. I gotta look that up before I do the show next week. But if they're still paying that debt, I swear, I want to go down there and slap the hell snot out of everybody in their governmental system. If I was in control of Haiti, I would tell the world, as far as paying France another red cent, to hell with you and the horse you rode in on. I ain't paying you a damn thing. Especially now that they're part of the African Union, I ain't paying you nothing. And as a matter of fact, I ain't trading with you. We finna rebuild our crops. We're gonna rebuild our land. I ain't giving you jack. You know? You think America pays some of Haiti's debt? That would be interesting. But I wouldn't pay Haiti a goddamn thing. I mean, I would pay France another red cent. I tell friends where they can go stick it. Nah, y'all trying to get me into next week's talk. I know y'all quit trying to trick me. Trick me like that. But we're going to get ready to close this out. Jacob wanted to come in, but he came like way late, like 45, 50 minutes into it. And I can't do this like because I can't talk. My throat hurt. But so, even though it wasn't exactly what I wanted to talk about tonight, it was still a good conversation. And I appreciate you guys for being here. I appreciate everybody who's on my Facebook, everybody who's on Instagram, YouTube. If you're finding this for the first time, subscribe. Appreciate you. Always. But I want you guys, before we do, here's your homework. I'm going to start giving y'all homework, yeah. Well, here's your homework. Before next week, the documentary of 1804. I want you guys to go and look at that documentary 3 times. It's only like an hour. So 3 times. Watch it 3 times. Take some notes if you have to. But I want you to go watch it. Watch that documentary before we do the show next week. Because the documentary was a good documentary. In general, it covered everything. I saw it on YouTube. I did see it on YouTube when I was watching a bunch of other videos about Haiti. I happened to see that the 1804 documentary was on YouTube. So go watch it there. You can watch it on, I know you can watch it on YouTube. It might be on Netflix. I didn't check. But definitely go and check it out. Say Africans so brainwashed by Coach Renz, you can't wake them up. You can't say that we can't wake them up. We can wake them up. We can wake them up. You want to tell you why I know we can wake them up? I had a 45-minute conversation with a young lady from the Ivory Coast who was just leaving the Catholic Church. Or getting ready to go to a Catholic church. But when I got finished talking to her, she didn't go to her Catholic church. She went home. She went home. And the Ivory Coast is straight up Catholic. Like seriously Catholic. But she went home. I don't know if she continued. She said she's going to follow the channel and everything. But she went home. We can change them. Especially the young ones. Especially the young ones. But I'm going to tell you, the way that they changed us was to threaten our lives. Threaten our lives. belts, with whips and chains and cutting off arms and killing people, massacring with guns and swords. They changed us into Muslims, they changed us into Christians that way. The way we change today, we change them with opportunity. We change them with the ability to make more money, have better living conditions, get better education. That's how we change people. We give them that. You ain't gonna change people with false hopes no more. The false hopes of preaching, that ain't gonna do it. All these little pastors in Africa who are doing these fake healings, these fake resurrections, all these things, that stuff, they're desperate now. Because the people there are having access to the internet. They have access to information. People in America are changing because they have access to information. There is YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and all that. And there is ways that you can do research without having to leave your home. Your phone is your whole library is in your phone. Everything that was in the library when I was growing up as a kid, having to walk up to Marietta Public Library and read all them dang on reference books to request information from the Library of Congress. You ain't got to do all that no more. It's right there on your phone. You have access. So I wouldn't say we can't change their mind. It's going to take time. But in 20 to 30 years, we can have whole countries walked away from that foolishness. Whole countries that are realizing that we can do business and we don't have to do it with other people. We can do it with each other. So we can change them. We can change them. I'm a queen mother in Ghana and I had my coronation service at a church. I guess I lost that status. Oh well. I'm not a Christian no more. I don't want to be a Christian no more. Y'all know I cannot sing. And then my throat messed up too. It's even worse. But yeah, I'm with you though. I used to be the deacon and chairman of the deacon board. I ain't deacon no more. Not chairman of the deacon board no more. But what I am is concerned about our people. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, if somebody is a Christian, but they understand the plight of our people, and they understand that, look, we got to build business and take control of our neighborhoods in America, and then work and funnel our money into African nations and build those African nations as well so that we have a home that is ran by black people. We got to do the same with Caribbean nations that are ran by black people so that we have a home, that we have a foundation, we have governments that can be recognized by other governments that can stand for us. See, trying to stand for us in America as Americans ain't gonna work. Is it working for the Native Americans? Heck no. Is it working for all them Sioux Indians up there? No. What, they give you a damn casino and you're supposed to be happy? Have you been to a reservation? It didn't work. It's not working. It's not going to work because you're not getting international and national recognition. We got to work with Haiti, build Haiti, get that national, international recognition, work with Botswana, work with Nigeria, work with Congo, work with Ghana, so that we as people can get that international recognition so that we can say, y'all gonna leave us the hell alone. Y'all gonna stop killing our kids. Y'all gonna stop telling these lies. You gonna stop running up into gentrifying our neighborhoods. Until that happens, it ain't gonna happen. But y'all gonna get me caught up into next week talk. And we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that because y'all know I can talk about it. I can do this all night. But we got work to do. We got work to do. All right? Still mission minded to help where I can. Exactly. Thank you, young lady. Appreciate that. Them Africans was doing their juju, all types of stuff to get the members in that money. They sure do. What do I think of people who want division through ethno states? That's kind of hard because where do you draw the line? How black is black? How white is white? I got nieces, well, they're cousins technically, but they too young to be called my cousin. I got nieces. They mama white, daddy black. But she's Afrocentric in her mind and in her behavior. Well, the other ones are real little, but they heading in the same pathway. I got nephews Same situation. They're Afrocentric. So, am I going to discount them? Push them aside? Because they had no control over who their parents were? I'm not going to do that. They're down for the people. That means that every light-skinned person, I got to say, nah, you got white folks in your blood. Yeah. I'm trying. I got all my little, I started to bring it upstairs. I got all my little natural herbs that I'm taking. I got my elderberry, got my little other mixture that got 4 or 5 different things in it. Right, no the ethno states. And I don't mind, I don't mind integration. It's just we need to, kind of like how Chinese people got China. And then they coming over here and they all around the world building business. And then, but they still got China. And they still got money going to China. They still building China. That's all I'm talking about. Everybody ain't got to leave America. You ain't got to leave America. Buy the land that you live in, the house that you live in, though. Buy the neighborhood. Buy the block. Build a business in your neighborhood or shop at the businesses in your neighborhood that are owned by people who look like you and live in your neighborhood. Do that. And then let's start importing and exporting to other African nations, circling that money internationally. Let's do that. Y'all getting me into my next week's show already. But here's the thing. I think it's somewhere around 82% of all purchases of Hennessy is by black people. And Hennessy has even went as far as to have one called Henny Dick. Yeah, literally. So, if we stop buying Hennessy, make our own version. I don't even know what Hennessy is. I think it's a whiskey. Is it a whiskey or a brandy? Or is the brandy and the whiskey the same thing? I know my wine. I don't know my liquor. Right? So, if we stop buying Hennessy, that company goes away. It goes away. If we stop buying Nike, Nike dang near goes into bankruptcy. If we stop buying KFC, KFC gonna go, a lot of them gonna go into bankruptcy. Right? It's a malt liquor. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm, all don't drink, because if I wasn't taking all these, well, it's gonna be some wine drink tonight, no matter what. But we have way more power than we give ourselves, but we give it away, and that's what I want to stop. Oh, it's a cognac? Okay. We have to stop giving away our power, and we have to rechannel, redirect it. Make people respect us. We don't make people respect us. Right? Right. Chandel said that, like he told me, when he could get the funds, he want to sign up for the program. Now, coming into funds, you got to listen to my videos on credit, and you got to listen to the videos on the richest man in Babylon, and start applying the rules of the richest man in Babylon. 10% of what you earn is yours to keep. And what you earn at 10% is to be invested in something that's bringing you a return on your investment immediately. Not a stock, not a 401k, not a IRA or anything like that. It's like you bought 1,000 of these for $1, and you went out and sold them for $3, and you made 3,000. Then you take the 3,000 and you go buy 10,000 of these for $3, and you sell them for $15, and you keep turning your money like that. I bought Gucci. I quit. I'm a vegetarian. I'm a vegetarian now. Cool. Getting that frequency and vibration alignment. Yep, gotta do that. Actually, I'm gonna do something about that frequency and vibration alignment. I got a concoction. I got some concoctions being cooked up. So give me to about April 15th. Try to sign up for the financial alchemy classes. Hey, just let me know. Let me know. I'm flipping and investing so I can help others. Don't forget, in the five rules of gold, is that before you can help other people, you got to help yourself first. So don't help yourself at the expense. Don't help people at the expense of yourself. Get yourself squared away, and then you can help other people. But okay, you letting me know now? All right, cool. So I'm gonna let y'all know that I'm gonna hang up on y'all because y'all can hear I'm coughing. Just to my website, CoachRenz.com. CoachRenz.com. And there's a in CoachRenz.com the store. It's all in there. So, look, I appreciate everybody, and I'm coughing like crazy. So we are going to. So Jacob, I know you're still listening, because you came on a little bit late. But we will do it not next week, because next week I'm gonna do the show on Haiti. But the week after that, we'll try to resume and talk about the pyramids in more detail. Okay. So I will see you guys next Tuesday. But I got to get my voice right because I got to do some other videos this week that leads up to next Tuesday. So I appreciate you guys for being here, for sharing this time with me. As always, you guys are amazing. Y'all great. And we're going to do this thing. I got to go down and take my little medicines. And I look forward to it. So y'all have a great day. And remember that you have to free yourself to be yourself. Because your greatness is what? It's non-negotiable. So see y'all later. And invite people to next week's show. And we're going to finish everything. Finish that one. Peace.